Welcome everyone to this WelFarmers webinar. My name is Javier Lorente. I am the technical manager in 3T3 and it's a pleasure to have all of you here today. As 3T3, we are in charge of all the communication and dissemination actions in this project, and this webinar is part of that. I will let you know later a little bit more about the project in a video that I encourage you to see, and once and again, if you want to learn more, and of course to visit our website to know exactly what we are doing. But first of that, I would like to give some words to Antonio Tavares, that is the coordinator of the project. So after that, I will introduce you the rest of my colleagues, the colleagues that are going to be with us here today. But now, Antonio, the micro is yours.
Thank you, Javier, and congratulations for the organization of this webinar. One of the main challenges the pig farmers in Europe are facing are the changes on the European legislation on animal welfare. We must be prepared to organize our farms for the new legislation. That's why 8 pig farmers associations in Europe have invited universities and research institutes to identify the main challenge and also the best practice for the European pig farmers. And after that, spread the information all over Europe. That's how WelFarmers is born.
Thanks, Antonio, for these words. And now I'm going to introduce the rest of my colleagues. So I'm going to start with Vivi Aerestrup. Vivi is from Denmark. She received her Master in Animal Science from the Royal Veterinary and Agricultural University in Frederiksberg in Denmark in 1995, and her PhD in Animal Science in the same university in 2002. Vivi has been focusing on research and development of housing of lactation sows in SEGES since 2001, and she has conducted a lot of farm trials for more than 25 years now. So Vivi has a lot of experience in collaboration with farmers with the objective to develop, test and recommend the best technologies for production of pigs in Denmark. Actually, she's chief scientist in SEGES Innovation and as well honorary associate professor in animal production in the University of Copenhagen. So Vivi, it's a pleasure to have you here, and now tell us a little bit more about what are your responsibilities in WelFarmers.
Hello, I'm Vivi. It's a great pleasure to be here. I'm leading Work Package 2. Work Package 2 is about loose housing of lactating sows. And I'm very much looking forward to, together with Anna, Patrick, Edgar and Javier, to introduce you to WelFarmers.
Well, thanks, Vivi. Now the next one I want to present is Anna Valros. Anna is from Finland. She has a Master in Zoology since 1998 and a PhD in Animal Behavior and Welfare in 2003 from the University of Helsinki in Finland. Since 2008, she has been appointed as Professor of Animal Welfare at the Department of Production Animal Medicine at the Faculty of Veterinary Medicine in the University of Helsinki, and she has been working mainly with pig welfare, including topics such as tail biting, where she has worked a lot, and we will see later, as well farrowing housing of sows, and castration. So she has authored more than 100 articles in international journals, and as well she has supervised a good number of completed PhD theses. So Anna, again as well, it's a pleasure to have you here. So tell us, what are your tasks in WelFarmers actually?
Hello Javier and everyone else online. My name is Anna Valros. I'm the Professor of Animal Welfare at the Faculty of Veterinary Medicine here in Helsinki, at the Helsinki University in Finland. And this here is my colleague Putri, who just decided to not be on the video anymore. In the WelFarmers project, I'm responsible for the work package on reducing the need for tail docking in pigs. And if we could get Kotri back in the picture, we can see that this is the future I would like to see, with beautiful curly pigtails. So welcome everyone.
Thanks, Anna. Next one, we have Patrick Chevillon. Patrick is from France. He's an engineer, project manager at IFIP, and expert in technical support for upstream and downstream stakeholders in relation to meat quality and animal welfare since 1992. Patrick is a specialist in the team of transport and slaughterhouses and cutting plant of pigs. He's in charge of files on the qualitative differentiation of pork meat through genetics, breeding, methods, and feeding. And he is in charge as well of quality files for meat and processed products in relation to the stop of castration, one of the topics of the WelFarmers project, with entire males or vaccines. So studying the specifications for breeding entire of vaccination males, sorting of odorless meat in the slaughterhouses, and the use of tainted meats at processing level. So Patrick, again, I have introduced your experience, but tell us a little bit more about you and about your responsibilities in this project.
My name is Patrick Chevillon from IFIP, Institute of Pig in France. I am working in the sector of the pig meat quality and the welfare aspects at the farm level, at transport level, and slaughterhouse level. In the WelFarmers program, I am in charge of a thematic group, Avoid Pain at Castration, who is a big challenge for the pig farmers. 3 solutions at the moment: to stop castration and to produce entire males. Second solution, to use immunovaccination in Provac. Third solution, to maintain the physical castration and to avoid pain at castration.
Well, thanks, Patrick. And the fourth one in this webinar is Edgar Garcia Manzanilla. Edgar, he is from Spain, but he is living in Ireland actually. Edgar completed his degree and PhD in veterinary medicine between 2000 and 2005 in the University of Barcelona, the UAB. And in 2006, he moved to the Department of Animal Science of the University in California as a researcher, where he also obtained a master in preventive veterinary medicine. He went back to Barcelona in 2009, where he was involved in different projects managing and analyzing data from commercial farms. And in 2010, he became a diplomate of the European College of Porcine Health and Management. Then he moved to Ireland in 2014 as a researcher in the Pig Development Department of Teagasc. He's author of more than 125 papers, and he has participated in several European groups, and he's actually a researcher as well in national and international projects of animal health and welfare. So, hello Edgar, welcome to this webinar.
Hello everybody, welcome to the first video for WelFarmers that we do in Teagasc. We are very happy to start the dissemination, and we hope that there will be many videos like this. Welcome.
So thanks the four of you to be here with us today. And now, before to start with the questions, I think it's time to explain a little bit better to the audience what is WelFarmers, what we are doing, how we are doing, and what we are going to do. So the best for that is to see the next video.
The WelFarmers project is a collaborative initiative aimed at improving the welfare of pigs within the European Union. It will put together pig farmers, advisors, veterinarians, and researchers to address the challenges of the upcoming change in the European pig welfare legislation. The project will address 4 main topics: ban of cages, identifying opportunities and solutions in the field of loose housing of lactating sows, pigs with undocked tails, key challenges and opportunities for moving towards rearing pigs with undocked tails, avoiding pain in castration, main working lines in Europe in the fields of actual practices on pig castration, with anesthesia, analgesia, immunovaccination, producing entire males. Space allowance and flooring. Adequate space and flooring enable pigs to move freely and stay healthy. These are the stakeholders from 8 different countries involved in the project. The first phase of the project will identify the best practices in each country and subsequently choose the best practices in each of the topics. After different rounds, 24 of them will be awarded, taking into account the balance between pig welfare and farm economy and environmental and climatic impact. Once the best practices are chosen, the objective is to develop tools for the farms as virtual tours to learn how the different practices are carried out. In the virtual tour of each farm, you'll find information about the farm, its location, a photo album, and a virtual tour through all its facilities. You will be able to choose which part of the farm you want to check. The farm tour and the best practices in each topic will be available for everyone on the WelFarmers website. This will serve as a tool for each farmer to implement them according to the specific realities and needs of their own farm. Do you want to join us identifying and sharing best practices to accelerate implementation and increase acceptance of welfare solutions? Contact us.
So, I'm sure you have learned much more about WelFarmers now, and I encourage you to visit the website and to go more in deep in each step that we are doing. Now, I want to present you the last person today, and it's Taru. Taru is the regional network manager. She's from Finland, and she's going to explain us a little bit more what are the tasks of the regional networks. So Taru, please, the micro is yours as well.
Hello, I am Taru Antikainen, the Regional Network Manager from Finland. Each WelFarmer country has their own regional network from 20 to 20 people. We are producers, advisors, veterinarians, researchers, people from big farmer organizations and even governmental offices. Our task is to identify and discuss which are the most important challenges facing big industry at the moment. We have sent our suggestions to the thematic groups which have chosen the challenges for the competition rounds. Our job is to collect and find the pioneering farmers who have found good, efficient ways to tackle these problems. Then we will and have made descriptions and sent the nominees back to the thematic groups, which will choose 5 best ones from all of the countries, and then the regional networks will vote which are the ultimate 3 best ones. One role of the national research is to share the information collected in this project. We can write articles, share the information in social media. We will organize and participate in events and fairs, and altogether the national research networks are a sort of a really crucial part of this project. Enjoy your webinar. Thank you.
Well, thanks Taru. And after the introduction and explanation of the regional networks, I want to start with the questions for you guys. So let's go with the first one that it's really simple and it's for all of you. And the question is why? Why it's important for you to be in WelFarmers project? Why you decided? Did you decide to come to this project? And how your organization can help and can contribute in this project?
To me, the WelFarmer project is a unique opportunity to contribute to improving pig welfare in Europe. In the way that we and that way also contribute to continuous pig production in Europe by increasing the license to produce and increasing the stock keepers' work satisfaction. The way that farmers and their employees work together with scientists and other stakeholders, so the farmers, they suggest good practices that they have noticed make a difference at their farm, and then scientists and other stakeholders evaluate how these practices will also work, whether they can work at other farms, and then we can share the practices that actually have an opportunity to work and make a difference at more farms in Europe, so more farmers have the confidence in implementing systems, for instance, with loose housing of lactating sows.
I've been working with pig welfare research for almost 30 years at the University of Helsinki, and most of our research is very applied and in close collaboration with the producers, usually on commercial farms. And through this collaboration, I've learned how important it is for us researchers and farmers to work together if we want to achieve a sustainable change in increasing the welfare of both pigs and of pig farmers. And I think the WelFarmers project is an excellent opportunity to enhance this process. In addition, as Finland totally banned tail docking over 20 years ago, our producers have such a lot of practical experience and information on how to rear long-tailed pigs. And this gives us an opportunity to collect information of good practices, both here and from progressive farmers in other countries, and share the information all over Europe. We also have a lot of experience in other themes of the WelFarmers project here in Finland. For example, about half of our sows are already farrowing in pre-farrowing or temporary cradling systems.
The European welfare legislation will change in the near future. At the moment, the actual directive from CU 2001 authorized pig farmers to castrate the pig before 8 days, without any anesthesia or analgesia protocols. Some European countries have moved in direction of more friendly practices around castration, stop castration on produced entire males, use immunovaccination with Improvac, or maintain physical castration with the use of a protocol of anesthesia or analgesia. Collaborate in WelFarmers program give us the opportunity to collect the practical innovation on best practices allowed at national level in Europe. This network will be useful to establish the future regulation around castration and to take in consideration the meat quality need of the diverse pig food chain in Europe. The economic impact at farm level to implement the best practices will be taken in consideration in this evaluation.
So the reason why we join WelFarmers is because it includes the two most important actors in the welfare of the pigs. The pig itself, so that's the target in the project, to improve the welfare of the animals as much as possible. And the other actor it includes is the farmers, who are the people that are in the first line to improve the welfare of the animals. So this project, WelFarmers, is designed by farmers for farmers to be the ones implementing the best welfare that we can find.
So it's really important for the project to have all of you inside, and it's a pleasure to collaborate with you. So I know we are going to do great things. Let's talk now a little bit more about each topic inside the project. I will follow the order, so I will continue with you, Vivi, and then I will change a little bit. So your topic is regarding the ban of cages, or if we go more in detail, we will be talking mostly about loose housing. I know you have been studying, and we have talked about that in the presentation, a lot of the behavior of the sows in this question. So tell us a little bit more about that, please, Vivi.
To me, loose housing of lactating sows is a very important welfare issue. A normal behavior of pigs is to have areas where they rest, areas for activity, and areas for dung. But when sows are in farrowing crate, they have to do it all in one position. And they're actually in crates for 75 to 80 days a year. So there they can't they have to do everything in the same position. So every time we have 10 sows in a herd, we actually have 2 years annually of the sows being confined and not being able to have separate areas for the different behaviors. I deeply acknowledge that we do have farrowing crates for a number of good reasons, but I also think that when we share solutions, we identify barriers and challenges and we share solutions, this will be an opportunity for more farmers to introduce, and they'll be confident in introducing loose housing of lactating sows.
Thanks, Vivi. So, Anna, I go with you. You are back in the office now, a little bit darker than you were in the farm. This is the point for the ones that they believe that we don't have enough lights in our farms. So, in your case, we want to go more in deep with another key point, that is the tail biting. You are going to explain that better than me, but we know that to avoid tail biting, still now the most frequent action we do in our farms is tail docking. But as well, we know that this is not allowed by the legislation unless it's the only option, and that maybe we could try to do more to stop doing that, or at least to try to stop doing that. One, we can do in this direction, Anna.
Tail biting is a multifactorial behavioral problem. It occurs in many pig farms and is caused by stress experienced by the pigs. So basically, any housing or management related challenge to the welfare of pigs can cause pigs to bite each other's tails. To reduce the risk of the injuries caused by tail biting, tail docking is commonly performed on most pigs in the vast majority of countries in EU and beyond. This is the case even though routine tail docking was already banned in 1994 in the EU. The procedure of tail docking is painful to the pigs, both acutely and most probably also in the long term, as mutilation can cause long-lasting changes in pain sensitivity of the tail stump. However, the more important reason for reducing the need for tail docking is that by docking the tails, one masks the symptoms of the stress pigs are experiencing, causing the tail biting behavior in the first place. By tail docking, the consequences of tail biting can be reduced, but the underlying reasons for this behavior is not addressed. Thus, to improve the welfare of the pigs, it is crucial to solve the problem of tail biting by addressing the reasons for it, not by reducing the symptoms. Producers in Finland have a lot of experience of preventing tail biting, as docking has been banned for over 20 years. And the same goes for many progressive producers also in other countries. Through WelFarmers, we gather the best practices from successful farms to help others move towards a future where pigs can keep their tails intact.
I go with you now, Patrick. So we have been talking about behavior, but when we talk about castration, generally we do it under another perspective. So please, Patrick, tell us, under your consideration, what are the main points that can be decisive in this line?
Why are we talking about avoid pain at castration? We are talking about the consumer demand, which are, first point, take in consideration the pain at castration. Not take in consideration the pain at castration will be less and less accepted. The second demand, the consumer will not accept boar and tin meat on fresh meat on processing products. Boar and tin are bad odor and taste, which can appear on entire mile production. Stop castration need to adopt good practices to reduce the risk of boar and tin meat. Third demand, some traditional produce like dry ham in south of Europe, dry sausages, copa, lomo, need high fat thickness and good fat with a low level of unsaturated fatty acid. Heavy pig or older pigs are necessary for these products. The risk is too important of boar and tin meat with older and heavy pigs. So, at final, maintain castration is necessary in Europe for a part of the production. 3 challenges at final to solve for the farmers depending on their final market. In anti-animal production, the major challenges are to manage how to reduce the mortality meat frequency and how to avoid the aggressivity and mountain behavior. In immunocastration, how to succeed on secure way for the operators, the 2 or 3 injections, and how to control the efficiency of the vaccination. Third, in surgical castration, how to succeed to reduce the pain at anesthesia and analgesia operation.
Okay, so last but not least, we need to talk about space allowance and flooring. And Edgar, you and your institute are working on that. So please tell us why this point is so important, and at the same time as well is so complicated to define.
In Teagasc, we're in charge of the work package about space allowance and flooring. The reason why we picked this subject is because other subjects like the use of crates or tail biting are more obvious in terms of welfare, but the animals spend half of their life in these facilities, so we really need to pay attention to the space that we provide, and in general to the whole design of the pen, whether it is the number of feeders, the space of feeding, the number of drinkers, whatever we design here, it has to be for a long time to hold the animals, so we actually need to get it right. And the designs that we see here are very standard, and everybody in Europe uses similar designs, but there is plenty of room for improvement. So we have to go with WelFarmers to different countries, see what they are using in the different countries, and get the best and good practices that we can find, and get the feedback to the farmers in terms of how they work, what is the best way to implement them, and in the end to get the best welfare for these animals.
Let's continue. We have been talking about why, and now I want to ask you about how. So until now, during the time the project has been running, one of the tasks you have had is to ask the farmers in each of the regional networks and the experts that are participating what are the main challenges they see in every topic. The question is that what you have found, what are the main challenges you have found in every topic? You can start, for example, Patrick, now.
The challenges are different depending on the final farmer choice. In anti-animal production, the pen at castration is clearly avoided, but the pig farmer need to adopt good practices to reduce birth and frequency and to reduce the aggressivity and the sexual behavior of the entire males. Specific good practice need to be implemented, like genetic choice, alimentation and feed distribution protocol, sexing or not, the surface by entire males, the ambient control, the cleanliness of the pigs, the fasting period, the stress at loading before transport, and the stress at the slaughter phase. In immunovaccination, the challenges are to organize a secure and good vaccination of the pig, all the pig, in the fattening units. To facilitate the organization, best practices are in place at farm level and need to be shared at European level to adopt more easily the immunovaccination protocol. On heavy pig, the protocol need to be adapted. 2 or 3 injections are needed. The control of the effectivity of the vaccination is a critical point to avoid any risk of birth tent. Some practical best practices are waiting by the pig farmer. In castration, the challenges for the producer are how to organize the castration depending on the protocol adjusted and permit in each country. How to reduce the stress and the labor cost.
There are a number of challenges for the implementation of loose housing of lactating sows. Increased space, so either a greenfield, reduced herd size, or a combination, investment, design of pens, functionality of pens, productivity, stock person experience and comfort, and also actually getting staff that are interested in working or have the training to work with loose housing, stock people safety. So there are a number of challenges or barriers for this exercise we are doing. I think with WelFarmers project we'll be coming up with a solution which will actually lower it and make it easier and make it possible for more farmers to introduce loose housing of lactating sows. And I look forward to being part of this pointing out of solutions so the challenges can be less.
So as part of WelFarmers, we do a round of consultation with the farmers to see what are the challenges in each one of the themes. In this particular theme, in the space allowance and flooring, one of the main challenges that we find in terms of changes, first is that we don't have yet a European legislation and we are waiting for it. So once we have clear rules, we will adapt the rules, but the rules should be shaped also with the information that we are producing in best practice. So for example, one of the difficult parts to decide is how much solid floor these animals need. If you provide solid floor, they can get more enrichment and they can get more comfortable space. But at the same time, you are creating problems like the problems with hygiene, more work for the farmer, possibilities of increasing salmonella in the pens. So we have to get it right in terms of getting the good practice that works and minimizes all those challenges. The final challenge of all this is that these facilities normally last for 20 or 30 years. And once you do the investment, you are stuck with it. So we need to spend a lot in modifying these facilities. We need to get it right for the farmers to get their best profit and for the animals to get the best welfare that we can.
Rearing undocked pigs can increase the risk of tail biting, especially in the beginning when one is adapting to a new way of rearing pigs. And tail biting, again, increases the risk for injuries, which can lead to infections, mortality, and carcass condemnation at slaughter. One of the main challenges raised by the regional networks was how to reduce the risk of these secondary problems if tail biting occurs. Regional networks also mentioned that rearing undocked pigs can cause increased workload due to the need for more inspection, intervention, and treatment, as well as for adding more enrichment materials. It's well known that adding appropriate enrichment is important for reducing the risk of tail biting, but this can also become a challenge. It can be problematic and costly to get hold of suitable enrichment materials. Biosecurity issues and slurry management can cause further challenges when it comes to using functional enrichment. Thus, innovative methods for safe, affordable, and easy enrichment are still necessary. To reduce the risk for tail biting in undocked pigs, it's very important to reduce the competition for resources and to provide enough space, more than current minimums. This can cause extra costs or reduced income, which leads to the next challenge brought up by the regional networks, the lack of premiums to cover the costs. One of the most central preventive measures when it comes to tail biting is to ensure a well-functioning climate monitoring and control system. However, adjusting and monitoring of ventilation and other technology can be challenging, and there are only limited technology available for monitoring climatic conditions on farms.
So we are in the last part of the webinar, and now I would like to have from you guys an example of a good practice that you already have collected. So let's start with you, Anna. Can you give us an example about a good practice relating the tail biting, relating your topic?
The best practice candidate I chose to present here is from a farm in Finland, where pigtails have never been docked and never will be. Tail docking has actually been fully banned in Finland for over 20 years. And instead of focusing on quick fixes or complicated technical solutions, the practice we present here is about getting the basics right. As you can see from the picture here, pigs are housed in normal intensive pig housing, but there are some key features that the farmer underlines. Firstly, Pigs are provided with more space than the minimum requirement. At the end of the finishing period, the allowance is 1.1 square meter per animal. The group size is not too big, so it's approximately 13 pigs per pen, and the floors are only partially slatted, allowing the pigs to rest on the solid area, as well as facilitating provision of sawdust for rooting and as bedding. A sufficient amount of drained, that's 10% slatted, and slatted flooring helps keep the pens dry and clean, and ventilation is sufficient to reduce humidity. Secondly, feeding is optimized for long-tail pigs, and on this farm, this is considered the most important for reducing the risk of tail biting. The feed is of high quality, and it's meal-fed from long troughs, allowing all pigs to eat simultaneously without competition for feeding spaces. And water is available from 2 nipples per pen. Thirdly, pigs are given enough materials for rooting. So there is sawdust on the floor. There's also a wooden stick and a hanging plastic plate on a chain. Finally, the farm focuses on keeping the pigs healthy by, for example, good biosecurity practices. Also, as part of daily routines, pigs are monitored for signs of tail biting twice a day, and actions are taken immediately if necessary. However, tail biting is not a regular problem on this farm.
So, Vivi, now it's your turn.
There are a number of decisions to be made, and it can be difficult. So one of the main decisions, one of the very first decisions, is how should my pen be? What is the dimensions of the pen? And then there's a number of things to be aware of. And to be successful, it's important to know or be aware of what are the pigs doing, when are they doing it, why are they doing it, how are they doing it. So they nurse, they eat and drink, they explore, they socialize, they rest, they urinate and defecate. And how can we meet all that in the same pen? This is a good practice that was suggested by Danish pig producer Daniel and his parents when they were about to decide for their new housing of their lactating sows. They created a cardboard pen, so they took a piece of cardboard and a pig, placed it in the pen, and then they took these out to the different producers of pen equipment and showed them and said, we want a pen where the sow can lay down in this area, where the sow can rest here, where she can eat here, where there's space for the piglets, where you can easily have access to the piglets. And then the pen producers made pens that sort of was similar to the cardboard model that Daniel and his parents had presented. We have sort of made that a bit more public available. So it's now a checklist with the main decisions. So 30 questions related to pen design, which are important for the sow, for the piglets, for the caretakers, and for the environment. So you answer yes and no to all the questions. There's a sow and there's a litter of small piglets, newborn piglets, and 3-week-old piglets, all in 1 to 10. So you get like a set like this, with the pigs and the questions. And then you answer the questions. You take your cardboard pig and turn around the pens you have drawn up. And then you can compare pens. So there's one pen, give more yes on less no's than the other pen designs. What is the impact of different space allowances? What is the one pen equipment compared to another pen equipment? Where do you get the most value for money? And you can see all this in a video too, where I illustrate how to use the cardboard pigs, and it does come with English subtitles. Thank you.
So, Patrick, in addition about what the colleagues are explaining us, could you give us an example about how a good practice has to be collected?
I am going to present you an example of a French pig farmer, Laurent Guglielmi, who decided to share his practical practice in immunovaccination to avoid pain at castration. He described his practice in the good practice description sheet. First, he described his identity and size of his piggery, the address, and the title of the good practice. In his case, practical improved use for heavy pigs of 144 kg on straw since 2019 and welfare pig food chain to valorize the stop castration. Secondly, he described more precisely the good practice implemented on the ROI, the return on investment, on the additional cost paid by the final consumer for meat quality and higher life quality for his pig. It's more 0.05 euro by kilo carcass. Now, two photos are put to illustrate the practice to complete a YouTube video of a farmer on a website. Firstly, he described the farm context in which the good practice have been implemented, the genetic choice, the live weight, the training of the operators by Zoetis company, and the sanitary vet of the farm, the number of people involved in the vaccination protocol, and the flow on the fattening pig characteristic. Practical immunocastration is described: the number of pigs by batch, the number of injections, in his case 2 injections, the age at injection, how to avoid any risk of injection for operators, the needle quantity, to be sure that in the improved bottle there is improved produce, and how to control the quality of the vaccination, in his case the maintained behavior in the 15 days after the second injection, and the red testes observation. The economic analysis is realized, the gain on the cost. About the cost, the average cost is around 5.25 euro by pigs, and the gain is around 0.05 euro by kilo carcass. Final, the environmental effect has been evaluated by a reduction of 5% of the carbon footprint for this farm.
And Edgar, finally, I would like to have from the farm perspective that you are in the farm now, how you could give us an example about improvements that could be included in a good practices.
In terms of good and best practice, we are now, for example, in a very different building than the one that I was before. And you can see that there is plenty of improvements compared with the other one. So we have more space for feeders, we have more drinkers, we have these places where the animals can interact between pens and see each other. And we have a very different setting in terms of the floor. So you can see here that we have a part that is slatted, and that's what is supposed to be the toilet for the animals. And there is a solid part where the animals can be provided enrichment and they can lay more comfortably. These buildings are very nice in design, but sometimes are tricky to manage, and we need the farmers to use them and to tell us how best to use them. For example, one of the problems that you can find in this building is that to clean the solid floors is more difficult, and sometimes because of the dirtiness you can get problems, for example, like salmonella. And in the summer, for example, you could have animals that they understand that the slat is a fresher part and they decide to lay there, and the solid part becomes the toilet for them. So in those cases, you have to learn to play with environmental conditions, and the best suited to do that is the farmer by using the facility and understanding how the animals react to the different changes. Another part of this building that you can see at the end is that it is divided in an outside and an inside part. So by creating two environments for the animals can regulate themselves. And if they feel that they are very cold, they can go in. And if they feel that they are very warm, they can go out. And there is, you cannot see it in the video, but there is curtains here that open and close, and they give fresh air from the outside. So all these improvements obviously make the facility more expensive, but also can result in a much better welfare for the animals and the same or more profitability for the farmer.
Well, so we have arrived until the end of this webinar today. It has been a pleasure to be here. We have done the webinar in a different way, so I hope you have enjoyed. And just keep in touch, just be connected to WelFarmers project. Remember to go to the website and to surf and to see what we are doing. You will have much more news for us soon. So I encourage you to join us in WelFarmers. I would like to give the last words to my colleagues. Thank you very much for your contributions today, and see you soon.
Bye, all of you. It's been a pleasure, and I very much look forward to collaborating and meeting you in WelFarmers.
Goodbye, everyone. Thank you for joining this webinar, and please do follow the WelFarmers project in the future as well.
Goodbye, all of you. It has been a pleasure. Join us in WelFarmers.
Bye, everybody. It has been a pleasure to be here with you today, and I hope you join us in WelFarmers with plenty of good practices. Thank you.